Wow, we are live back again for another episode of Winning Government Contracts. If you are joining us, welcome to another episode of Win Government Contracts, the podcast. And so, with me this week here is our entrepreneur, and we've been coaching and talking about her business for about almost 3 months now. And so, she's come a long way. If you have not met our entrepreneur that I've had the pleasure of coaching, she will introduce herself in 1 second. But if you're joining us, my name is Abraham. I am with the Government Contractor Association, the host of this podcast here. And if you're new to the government market, that's what this podcast is all about. If you are a experienced government contractor, but you've found roadblocks and you run into obstacles, this podcast is also for you. In this podcast, we will be talking about how to overcome the challenges that's preventing you from winning government contracts. So that's what this is all about. But to do that, we're just not talking theories. We're not talking about principles. Yes, we do that, but we take it a step further. We talk about practical application of the information. So we go from information to application, which is very different. And then we apply that to specifically Vicky's company. And so that's really what this is about. And so this week, we're going to cover a few new things. But last week, Vicky was on hiatus. And so we did a rare, I got a chance to do a training on your key strategies, the fastest way to win government contracts. If you have not seen the episode, it is in the replay. So go ahead and watch the replay. We talked about the fastest way to obtaining government contracts. So very, very awesome lesson. Some great tips that was shared last week. And so, Vicky, while you were away, the show kept on going, and we covered a lot of stuff. And if you have not seen that, yes, go watch the episode as well. But if you are watching this here replay, thanks for watching this here. If you're joining us live, always glad to have you live with us. There's two components to this podcast here. The first component, we will address Vicky and her company. The second is for all of you who's joining us live. We will talk about your business. And so if you have something you want to talk about, if you have questions, feel free to ask questions along the way and we will address it. And so this podcast is about you, our viewers, as well as about Vicky's company. So put your questions in the chat. That would be awesome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our entrepreneur that we've been working with her business, and all of you get a chance to see a little bit more about her business as well. So Vicky, go ahead and share a little about your business and what you do and how's it been going for you so far in your government contracting journey?
Good morning. My name is Vicky Mang. My company is called Alpha Professional Services, and we are management consulting business. So far, we have completed our website. Still working on it, still doing a lot of tweaking and changing. Still working on the video briefing, capability briefing video, I should say. And then waiting to hear back from the government bid that we did. And
first proposal
just going through
awesome.
every day. Yeah. Every day going through the looking at what's available out there and moving forward.
Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. So far you've been putting things, getting your government procurement ready, which is great. And you submitted your first proposal, which was for 750,000 or 740,000. Good stuff. Woo! Awesome. So hopefully you'll hear some good news on that very soon. They're supposed to alert and notify everybody between now and towards the end of the month of June. So that's going to be great. So hopefully you'll hear some good news very soon. So that's exciting. Every time you submit a proposal, there's a chance. And here's what I mean by that. If you are trying to understand the government market, on average, most projects receive about 7 proposals only. So, and that's the general average. Now, there may be some project that you submit, and there may be 40 proposals submitted, but on average, most proposals in terms of a RFP, they only receive 7 proposals. So your odds are very good. 1 out of 7 is a very good odds. You know, that's much better than playing the lottery. That's much better than trying to be a professional athlete. That's much better than almost even trying to get a good job. I mean, when you apply for a job, guess what? There's hundreds of employees or candidates applying for the same position. So your chances of winning a proposal, winning a bid, is probably better than even applying for a job. So that's really the odds there. So if you're new in the government market, your odds are very, very good as it relates to winning contracts. But you have to be procurement ready and you have to submit a proposal. So with that said, we had a request from one of our listener. If you are listening, Effie, if you are watching this here, let us know you are here. She had a request of how to create images using AI for marketing, for your capability statements. So I'm going to start with that first, and then we'll come back and talk about Vicky's company and where she's at, and talk about more strategies that some of you can learn as well in this process. If you're joining us live, let us know where you're coming from, and give us the name of your company and where you're coming from. That would be awesome. So with that, let me go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to go in and talk about how to use AI to create images for your marketing tools and your marketing documents. So let me go in here, and I'm going to share my screen here. So share full screen. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use AI, and we're going to use ChatGPT, and there's many, many tools out there. Lots and lots of different tools out there. But I like, you can use any tool, but I mean, for simplicity, I'm going to use ChatGPT. And so I am a subscriber, but you don't have to be a subscriber to use ChatGPT to create images. And you can just put it down here, but I'm going to specifically go to the image generator. So, all right. So we got a few people joining us. Jonathan, thanks for joining us. Jonathan is with Definitive Safety Group, Environmental Consulting. Okay, in Northern California. Oh, yeah. I've got a great company that we need to chat with you about, Jonathan. You guys will be great teaming partners. If you shoot me an email, this is a law firm as well as an environmental remediation company. So they're looking for more teaming partners and subcontracting partners. So if you reach out to us, my email is info@govcontractors.org. Just send me an email and talk about us, and just say environmental teaming partnership, and I will make an introduction for you. That would be awesome. It's coming back to this here. So on my, if I'm going to create an image, now let me take a side note for a second. And what we're talking about is, how do you create an image for your capability statement? And so I'm going to use that as an example, right? So I'm going to go to Canva, and I'm going to pull up my capability statement. And so if this is my capability statement, this is our template. If you want a copy of the template, I'm going to put this here in the chat. You get bonuses for joining us live every week. We give out bonuses every week. So I'm going to put this in the chat. This is a capability statement template so that you can use it to create your capability statements. So let's come in here, and I'm trying to create, like, this is just a placeholder, right? This image here is a placeholder. So assuming that I am a HR staffing company, so this is a template for that. It's a HR staffing company. Diane, thanks for joining us. And Grit Government Solutions Training. Ooh, yes, I love what you do. We actually have about 4 or 5 companies that we're supporting, and they've submitted about 6 or 7 proposals all around HR training, around DEI, your leadership. And so love to make an introduction for you also, Diane, since you're joining us. If you're looking for teaming partners, send an email to us at info@govcontractors, and I'd love to make an introduction for you to some of the HR and people-related companies, training companies, and administrative management companies. All right, so this here is a template. So I'm looking to change out this image here, and because this is more of a HR employment staffing capability statement sample here. And so I'm going to take this and I'm going to create an image for this here. So I'm going to come back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to come into ChatGPT. I'm going to open up the prompt here, and I'm going to put in here, create an image that will illustrate multiple diverse people working in a government office or a military facility. Include young professionals, older professionals, and people in military outfits. Because the reason I'm putting military here is because DOD represents about 50 to 60% of all federal spending on a consistent basis. So I'm asking ChatGPT to create that. And let's see what it creates. Now, there may be multiple variations of it. And if you've used ChatGPT before to create images for you, let me know in the chat. That would be awesome. Okay, so now it's giving me this image here. This image is not appropriate for my capability statement because it's too busy, right? So now I'm gonna actually, I'm actually not gonna thumbs down. I'm a thumbs down, but I'm going to say recreate this image with only 4 professionals and make it landscape. View. All right. Let's see what it gives me. So Diane, if you could send me an email, that would be great. Yeah, this is worse. So we have to play around with it a little bit, and also I don't want like cartoon images. What I want is actual. And you see here, right? You see this person's face is very distorted here, and this person's face is distorted. So you just have to play around with it. But let me share with you the result of using it. And so it takes about 3 or 4 times to get the the ideal image that you may be looking for, but I'm going to show you guys specifically what we did to after playing around with it a little bit, we were able to create a capability statement um, for this year, right? So it's for this image here. We said create an image showing a military professional transitioning to the civilian professional career, and that's what it created here. So you use ChatGPT to help you. All right, with that, we are going to go into Vicky's company. So for Vicky's company, we've been tracking her work, and so you kind of see here, we started back in March. We've gone through week after week talking about what she needs to do to get her business more government ready, and we talk about procurement ready, and these are the things that you need to do to be procurement ready. And just for a quick review, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this here, but I'm going to do a quick review for everybody who's joining us for the first time, and then we're going to go to new things here. So let me zoom in. So when we say getting procurement ready, we're talking about getting your capability statement, being registered in SAM with the federal government, being registered in SLED. A SLED is state, local, and education. And having government-friendly website, capability brief, capability video, government-friendly business card, insurance and bonding and facility proposal writer and a capture manager and CPA, GovCon attorney, and creating proposal templates and finding teaming partners with large companies and teaming partners with small businesses and being registered in IPP or WAWF, which is wide area workflow, building relationship with contracting officers, getting CMMC certified, and having your mobilization fund in place. We covered this here previously, so if you miss out on the, I'm not going to details of what we've been working with Vicky in terms of getting her procurement ready here, but that's really what we've been talking about. Go watch the previous episode. You get a chance to review what this is all about here. And then we've talked about certifications. And Vicky, can you chime in? Tell us how many certifications that you currently have right now?
To be honest, Abe, I'm still waiting on some of them. The cert is the one that I'm working on in Minnesota, and I had to redo that application again. So I'm still waiting back to hear, or I'm still waiting to hear back from them. Once I get that, then like the MBE, the WBE, and the DBE will be easier to get because they're. I went onto the website that in the state of Minnesota, they have a website that you can get all of those together. So I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Okay. So you have submitted they kicked it back for what they call deficiencies, asking for more content and more documents. Is that what happened?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's normal. If when you're submitting proposal packages or not proposal, but you're submitting certification packages, it is normal. I would say 100% of the time they're going to find something missing, and they call it deficiency. Some people just could say, "Hey, we need this additional document," and even though you submitted it, just give it to them again. And they are just notorious for not being efficient in terms of processing these your certification packets. So don't make a big deal out of it. Just if they ask for it, just give it to them again, even if you give it to them already. Now, one other thing, what you want to do, Vicky, is in this here, what you want to do is as you're listing out your certification, you want to put in there pending. So if you submitted the application and you haven't received it, what you want to do is, so for this year, this is cert for Minnesota. So you will put pending in here. So that way they know that this is pending, and that's true for all of you. If you have submitted a a certification and you're waiting for, it could take 6 weeks, it could take 6 months, it could take 12 months, and I've seen it 13 months where it actually slipped through the SBA, and they realized that they did not process it, and so by the 13th month they sent a email say, "Hey, your package, we found your package." And so the lady that was she's been emailing them, and they say, "Oh yeah, it's in processing, it's in processing." Well, 13 months goes by and they haven't really touched it. So the lady that the company that was waiting for the certification award letter, I told her, I said, because they dropped the ball, what you want to do is you want them to um, immediately grant you the certification, or you're going to go to your congressman. And the SBA does not like your congressman, so that's a tip. If they're taking longer than 6 months, my remediation, and this is a very, you don't want to use your congressman on everything, but certification is a very good tool to use them in terms of to help you. So the way I would do it is, you submit your package, whether it's doesn't matter if it's federal, with the SBA, that you use your congressman first, and then use your senator if you have to. But the way you would do is follow these steps so that it can be effective. First of all, you have to email the processor, the SBA itself, and say, "Hey, just want to get. It's been 3 months. I just want to get update. What is the status of my 8A or Hub Zone, whichever certification you're applying for? What is the can you give me an update status on this?" Sometimes you will get a status update. Sometimes you will not. But and typically you do it through the portal, certified.gov, certified.sba.gov. So you communicate through the portal. If you don't hear anything, then you would escalate that. What you want to do is you want to find your SBA regional office, right? The SBA is broken into different districts and different what they call regions. In fact, let me put in here a region map so I can kind of quickly show you guys. So it's broken down into different regions like this, sir. So I'm in region 4. So if you look down region 4, this is the light green here. That's region 4. Vicky, you are in Minnesota. So you're in the light pink. You're in region 5. And then if you scroll down, it gives you all the point of contact down here. So you can go to region 4. This will be my point of contact. And then I would reach out to my advocate with the SBA. And I would say, hey, and you will CC also the portal. In your portal, you would say, hey, I am reaching out to my SBA advocate for region 4 to help, remediate this process because it's taking too long. And then you reach out to your advocate. And then if the advocate does not do anything or does not respond also, then you take it to the next level. There is the so in my situation, for you, Vicky, you would go to region 5, SBA region 5 director. So every single region has a director. And so you want to find your director. And so find your director. And if you find your director, then you email your director. And then if your director doesn't do anything, then at that point, you reach out to your congressman. And there is another website. So there is a specific website for the House of Representative, and then you just come in here, you find your congressman, and then you reach out to your congressman. When you reach out to your congressman, you have to say this here. I've emailed through the portal to my SBA rep, the processor, and they have not responded to me. They have not processed my paperwork. I've emailed my SBA advocate, and they have not resolved this matter. I've emailed the SBA Region 5 director, and they have not resolved this matter. And that's why now I'm emailing you, my congressman, and I hope that you will be able to help remediate this process. So you want to go through this, and then if what your congressman would do is they will say, I will appoint. Thank you for reaching out. We will appoint one of our staff to look into this here. So that's what, usually that's the process. And it would take them maybe a week or so to look into the matter. And then they would say, okay, we've reached out to the SBA, or they would say, send us more information, give us your company information and and so forth. So you give them what they ask for, and then they will step in to help you. Usually by this point here, the SBA will get their act together. And so I'm here, right? I have a love-hate relationship with the SBA. I love the SBA because of their mission and what they're supposed to do for small businesses. But sometimes I hate the SBA because they don't always do what they're supposed to do. The SBA is only as good as its people, and some people, it's just a job to them. They clock in and they clock out, and they don't really think about you as a small business owner. And so you get lost in the process. So use this process to help you get your certifications that you're looking for. And if you need, or if you need help, just reach out to us, and we're here to help you as well. If you run into some obstacles, whether it's some deficiencies and you don't know how to overcome it, or whether it is trying to get the ball moving and it's stuck and your congressman is not doing anything to help you, there's some other options that we can look into as well. So certification, that's what we're talking about. Now there's 5 levels of certifications that you want to look at. And so Vicky, let's talk about the 5 levels of certifications. So let me quickly address that so that you can get ready for all the other certifications. So I'm gonna pull up just an empty note here, and I'm gonna share with everybody. There are 5 levels of certifications. And then next week, what we'll do is we'll talk about the qualifications of what you need to prepare for. And I know in a second, Vicky, I'm going to ask you what were the deficiencies that you received back from Minnesota CERT. And so, but the 5 levels of certifications that you need is this here. Number 1 is you need federal. And then number 2, you need state. Number 3, you need a county. Number 4, you need cities. And number 5, you need commercial. So let's break this down a little bit more. So as it relates to Fed, the strongest is 8A certification. The second strongest, and now this is my opinion based upon years and years of experience in terms of helping companies and leveraging these certifications to get set-aside contract and sole source contracts. The third is the hub zone. The fourth is the EDWOSB. The fifth is the WOSB, and the sixth is VOSB. And then I would insert maybe section 3. Anybody know what section 3 is? Section 3. What is section 3 certification? Vicky, you familiar with section 3?
Section 3 is for low income housing.
No, you're thinking about section 8.
Oh, section 8.
Yeah. Section 3 is with HUD. So anybody heard? If you're with us live, what is section 3? What is section 3? Some of you have not heard of this certification. Well, this is if you are interested in doing business with HUD, it's not an opportunity zone. Usually, the opportunity zone are also considered Section 3 areas, but it's different from opportunity zone as well. So most of you, low to very low income person, okay, not quite. So let me talk about Section 3 is a business certification. Many of you, or most of you, have heard of Section 8. Section 8 is a housing voucher program to help individuals with low income so that they can take that voucher and they can go rent houses or rent apartments anywhere they want. And so that's the Section 8 program. It's a housing voucher program. Section 3 is a business certification program with HUD. So if you decide that, hey, you know what, I do a lot of administrative work. I'm in real estate. I'm an attorney. I'm in the legal field. I am a property manager. I am a landscaper, and you want to do property preservation for HUD. If you are in construction, you want to renovate HUD properties, Section 3 is a great certification for you. Why? Because it's designed specifically for HUD to use HUD or Section 3 certified companies to award contracts to those. The qualification for Section 3 is very simple. Your business have to be located in a designated area that is considered Section 3 qualified. And then you have to have a certain percentage of employees that live in the low housing income area. So very similar to Hub Zone, because Hub Zone is not the same thing as Section 3. Hub Zone stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zone. Hub Zone just means that your business is located in an area that has been designated Hub Zone, and 35% of your employees live in a Hub Zone. Section 3 is related to HUD. Hub Zone is related to all agencies. So is that new for some of you? Is this personal income or family household income? No, the Section 3 certification has nothing to do with your personal income. It's your business. They're qualifying your business, and then a percentage of your employees that you hire to work for your company must come from the HUD Section 3 qualified areas. So it's nothing about your business. So yeah, but this is again, this is only with HUD. But if you want to do work with HUD, Section 3 is a must. All the other certifications, we'll talk more about qualifications for these certifications next week. So let's shift. So these are the key federal certifications for small businesses. Let's talk about state certifications. So state certification has to do with DBE. This is a USDOT sanctioned certification, and what the USDOT have done is because so much money. Let's talk about the flow of money. Most roads, highways, bridges, money comes from the federal government, which is federal government authorized the USDOT to take billions and billions of dollars, and they allocate that to the states, and then the states will allocate that to the counties, and the counties will allocate to the cities. And so you have all these roads, all these bridges, all these highways that needs new construction or needs maintenance or needs upgrades, and most of that money comes from USDOT. The state don't have a certification program. But what USDOT said is that you must, because you are using federal funding, you must create the DBE program. In fact, where we lived in the state of Georgia, at one point, the state of Georgia was trying to get rid of the DBE program. And they actually did surveys. And they realized that most GDOT or Georgia DOT contract were going to large companies, and that not enough of it was going to small business. So they couldn't validate removing the DBE program. It just reinforces that there's a need for the DBE program in Georgia. And that's true for other states as well. Generally, the DBE program certification is a 10% set-aside programs, whereas the federal set-asides is a 23% set-aside, but through executive order. Executive order, I think, is the goal for executive order is to get to 35%. But the regulation for most agency is 23%. And so through executive order, they're trying to move it to 35%. But through Congress, it's 23%, but through executive order is 35%. So state, typically, this is a 10% program. And then in terms of 10% of all spending, the state DBE program, different states re-quantify it, and they created other certifications, or they rebranded it as a different name, with a different name. So like for Vicky, they call it CERT. And so this is Minnesota. If you're in Texas, they call it HUB. So this is Texas. If you are in North Carolina, they call it the SWOOC. I love the CERT, the HUB, and the SWOOC. SWOOC stands for Statewide Uniform Certification, and I'll come back to why that's important in a second. And so for most states, they call it DBE. So let's go to counties. So counties, the Fulton County, where we are in, they call it the MFBE. The Minority Female Business Enterprise Program. In LA County, they call it the CBE program, the Community Business Enterprise. So it just depends. Most urban county has a small business certification program. The way you will address counties and cities is this here. Let me show you how do you find the certification programs that you're in and why that matters to you, or how do you get those certifications. So what you would do is you would go into Google, and then you will put in the main county. So for example, if I'm looking for Illinois, so I'm gonna put in here Cook County, small business certification. So put in there whichever county. I'm gonna put Cook County, Illinois, so that, and then every single one of them will tell you what their small business certification process look like. So for Cook County is done through their OCC, which stands for the Office of Contract Compliance. That's my guess. Yeah. So it's managed by the Office of Contract Compliance, and then you would go through their process. So Cook County actually manages it for the Cook County, Kane County, DuPage County, McHenry, Will, and Lake counties. And this is for minorities, women, veteran, service veteran, and business enterprise operated by people with disabilities. So those are, so that's how you would go about searching for counties in your backyard as well. Now, same thing with cities. You would go in, for example, I'm looking for, there's over 35,000 cities. 95% of them don't have certification programs. So you would have to, most urban major city will have a certification program. And so if you are interested, put in the chat what city you're in, and I will look it up for you. In the meantime, I'm going to put in here New York City. And if you want to look at yours, New York City Small Business Certification, and we'll do a live search for yours. So the Empire State Development, they have the MWBE. New York also have the SBS, which is the Small Business So this is, so you would look for this there. And so certified with the city, minority or women-owned business. So they have the MWBE program, or they have what's called the Emerging Business Enterprise. This is not every cities have this here. So emerging business just means you're a small micro business. And then they also have the locally based enterprise, meaning that you are in the city itself. And if you look at this here, the city spends $17 billion a year, and they want some of this money to go to, companies in New York, first of all, because that's the LBE program. And then they also want contracts to go to any women or minority-owned businesses or new business, emerging business enterprise. So search for your city. Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's see if Cincinnati has a program. I'm curious. I've never searched for Cincinnati before. I was in Cincinnati. I drove through Cincinnati to get to some other places recently. So, and as an immigrant come to the United States, the first city that I remember, didn't speak any English at that time, and a Lutheran church. We landed in Ohio, and the next week, the Lutheran church took us to a Cincinnati Reds baseball game. I had no idea what baseball was, but what I remember was Cincinnati Reds, and I had such fond memory of Cincinnati ever since. So, love the city. All right, so Cincinnati has the MBE program. And let's see, they also have the SBE, the Small Business Enterprise. So just go in and go through the process. Typically they would tell you how to go through it. So they have the MBE, WBE, and the SBE, and you just go through this process here. So lots and lots of certification programs out there. But as we're talking through, right, you just kind of go through this here, and cities, again, you'll search for it, and the cities will tell you. Every city have their own. Typically, almost all of them will have an MBE or MBE slash FBE slash. These are the more dominant terminology the cities use. SBE slash there is the VBE also. Some cities have VBE, some counties have VBE as well. So let's talk about commercial certifications. If you know some commercial certifications, put in the chat. That would be interesting to see in what you guys know. What commercial certification programs out there? Now, if you're new to the small business professional certification programs out there, there's a lot of different supply diversity. Supply diversity is an initiative for most Fortune 1000 companies. They have a supply diversity initiative. And they understand that when you have a broad, diverse vendor base, that company tends to be more successful. When they represent a broader base of the community, more company trust them, and more clients trust them. And so a lot of large companies, they have their own internal goals of what percentage they want to award to women-owned businesses, minority-owned business, veteran-owned businesses, and so forth. Does anybody know some commercial certifications out there? I'm going to type some in a second here. If you know, love to hear what your thoughts are. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and name the first one in terms of commercial certifications, MBE. This is done through the National Minority Supply Diversity Council, NMSDC. You also have the WBE, and this is done through the WeBank. And there's another one done by NABO, and so forth. This is for commercial. I'm not talking about for government contracting. I'm talking about commercial contracting. And then there's also certifications for the DOBE. Oh, this is a new one. Anybody heard of the DOBE? Anybody heard of DOBE? Put in the chat if you've heard of this here. In fact, I just learned about this program a year ago, and I've been in the government contracting market for 15 years. DOBE. D for disabled. Yes, right on, Cody. So I love this here because the certification is actually very interesting. In fact, I'm going to go and give me a second. I'm going to pull up the qualification list, and because this is some interesting fact about this here. And I believe most of us will qualify for it once we look at the once we look at the checklist. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go to our certification folder, and I'm going to pull up the list of disabilities. If you meet any of these things here, then you qualify for the disability-owned business enterprise. So what are they? Let's look at it. ADHD. Now, I've been accused of having ADHD before. AIDS, alcoholism, Alzheimer, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, anxiety, asthma. I won't be able to pronounce some of this stuff here because I'm not in the medical field. I speak governese. I don't speak medical needs, right? Cancer, cerebral palsy, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic pain, depression, diabetes, dwarfism, dystonia, eating disorder, epilepsy, fibromyalgia, Graves' disease, HIV, intellectual cognitive disability, learning disabilities, mental health conditions, migraine, multiple chemical sensitivity. Oh man, lots and lots and lots of this stuff in here. Sleep disorder. Yeah, I probably qualify for that every now and then. And so wheelchair, right? So if you have any, this list is directly from the disability, the governing body that manages this certification. So this is called Disability IN. And so this is the agency. I'm gonna put this in the chat. So if you never heard of Disability IN, this is a nonprofit that supports supply diversity through getting your business certified as a DOBE company. And you use this here for commercial contracting purposes. So for example, what I mean by commercial contracting, if you want to do work for Pepsi, if you want to do work for Home Depot, if you want to do work for McDonald's, if you want to do work for AT&T, you want to do work for Verizon, whether janitorial work or any type of work, getting this certification open up doors for you for these large corporations. And I just went through this list here. Some of this here. Now there is one caveat to this is not self-diagnosed, right? You can't just go in there and say, hey, I have anxiety and I am a DOBE. Can I get DOBE certification? You have to, there is a form that that a medical professional has to sign off. So that's how that's what they use. It's a form, a medical professional signs off on it, saying, documenting your condition, and then you can get the DOBE certification. Now, if you are a veteran-owned business, you can also get this here for for commercial contracting purposes. Why? Because you've already proven to the SBA that you have your DD 214. You've been honorably discharged. You have certain level. You've done your medical review, and they've graded you whether it's 10% or 20% or 9% or 100%. So all veteran-owned businesses automatically will qualify for the DOBE, but for some of you, you would qualify for this disadvantaged owned business, disability owned business enterprise as well. So coming back, right? So we talked about the MBE, we talked about the WBE, the DOBE. There's some other commercial certification program out there as well. There is the LGBTBE certification program. This is done through Disability IN. This program this stands for the lesbian, gay, bi, transgender business enterprise. This is not all inclusive of the categories of these individuals that identify as such. This group here is, there's a lot of discrimination against this group of the community, and so they have the National Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and this certification is done through this organization. And then there's one other certifications for commercial contracting purposes. It's the AABE. And the AABE is done through U.S. Pan Asian American Chamber of Commerce. AABE stands for the Asian American Business Enterprise. So lots of different certifications out there. Use it to help you open doors. That's what certifications are for, is to help you open doors. So with that, Vicki, you started with one. How much? This is what you've started with. You got a lot more work to do. So next week, we're going to talk about qualification for all of these certifications. And so we'll continue this conversation for next week. If you want to learn about how do you qualify for these certifications, join us next week in another episode, and we will talk about the qualification for the 8A program, the veteran-owned program. And the good news is that most of these certifications, I would say 85% of all the paperwork are the same. So as you prepare your paperwork for one certification, it's good for all the other certifications. And the ideal way is to do it all at one time. So when I said there's 5 layers of certifications, you need at least one federal certifications. Now, some of you, you're watching this and you say, Abe, I don't qualify for any certification. It's okay if you don't qualify for any, right? You still need certifications. So if you don't qualify for any certification, how do you get certification? It's called teaming. You team with other companies that have certifications because they open doors for you. If you don't qualify, or you may qualify, but you don't have certifications yet, you can team with companies that are already certified and partner with them. So we'll cover this here next week, talk about the qualification for this here. So Vicki, I'm gonna come back to you. What was the kickback from STIRT? What were they asking for? So let's talk a little bit practical here in terms of what did they ask for that you didn't have, or tell us about that.
I started my CERT certification early on, and there were some tax documents that they needed for my company, and I didn't get that done until after tax or during tax season. So they only give you a certain amount of time to complete the application. So that's why I had to redo the application over again.
Okay. All right. So for you, it was the time lapse in terms of you responding to them in a timely manner.
That is correct.
Okay. Yep.
I do have a question for you, though.
Okay. All right. What's the question?
So for those individuals that are on here live, if this is brand new to them, how do they go about applying for certification if they don't have any financial information for their business?
Yes, I think Cody said yes. They asked for proof of residency in some situations. They asked for financial statements. They do ask for financial statements because they want to know. They ask for a lot of different things, and we're going to address the other qualification next week. But since Vicky asked this question about financial statements, let's assume you're a brand new company. You just started your business 3 months ago, and you're applying for women's certification. You say, well, what is it? Could be the WBE or the WOSB. It doesn't matter. And they're saying you need 3 years of financial statements, and you don't have it. Does that mean you cannot apply for certification? The answer is yes, you can still apply for certification, even though you do not have 3 years financial statements. So what financial statements are? Your balance sheet, your income, or what's called profit loss statement. And so you need to provide 3 years record. And if you don't have that, the solution is this here. There's 2 ways to address that there. You do what's called a DLOE, a detailed letter of explanation, DLOE. That's more for the federal government. So you do a detailed letter of explanations with your letterhead, and then you sign it. And it would just say it's an affidavit of truth. You can do an affidavit, or you can do a DOLE. So to do an affidavit is you would say that our business have not, we start our business on this date, and we don't have 3 years financial statements because we just started 3 months ago. And you can have a few ways of how you sign that. You can have your CPA sign it, or you can sign it and get it notarized. So there's a few ways to address that if you don't have financial statements. And so CPA signature, or your signature, or a notary. Typically, most of the time, most of these agents, they don't really care too much about, because you're new, and the regulation doesn't say you have to be in 3 years in business before you can apply. The only certification that require a number of years is the 8A program. All the other certification does not have a length in business requirement. So very good question there. If you need samples of DLOE, or if you need samples of affidavit, send me an email, info@govcontractors.org. I'll be more than happy to give you an example of how to do that. Again, watching live gives you bonus. And if you're watching a replay and you want samples, just leave a comment and say, hey, can I get a sample? Just send us an email, and then we'll be more than happy to send you, because our goal is to help you to be successful. All right, so with that, let's open up the floor to any other people. Anybody else have other questions? And so I have my producer online here. Is there any specific question that I need to address, Miss Producer Via? Do they only support fellow nonprofit organizations? Are you, no, the disability in the DOBE certification, that organization is a nonprofit. The certification is only for-profit organization. I don't believe they will do certification for nonprofits, because nonprofit, there is no owners. Did you catch that? Nonprofit is run by a board of directors. There are no such thing as shareholders, and there is no equity holder. So you cannot get a nonprofit certified through any of these certifications that we've been talking about. So we talked about federal, state, county, cities, and commercial. Those are the 5 layers of certifications. And you have to be a for-profit organization to qualify for the certifications. Yes, if you, another question is, do you recommend putting a DOBE certification on your website? Absolutely. Every certification you have, you want to put it on your website. It allows let's assume a supply diversity manager is looking for a company. They have internal goals, right? The DOBE, there's not a lot of companies certified in the DOBE program. In fact, if I remember, it says that there's only a few hundreds, if I remember. Let's see here. Yeah, well, because of time, I'm not going to pull up but I believe they only have a few hundred that's certified DOBE. So a supply diversity manager is going to look for women-owned business. They're going to look for DOBE. They're going to look for minority businesses. They're going to look for veteran-owned businesses. And since very few people have DOBE, they might choose you over somebody else because of that certification. And disability, if you are or people with disability, there is what's called affirmative action. Most people, affirmative action is about race. Affirmative action is about equality in the workforce. It goes beyond race. So, for example, if you're military, large corporation has to hire a percentage of military personnel in their company. If you are if you have some type of disability, large corporations, 50 employees or more. If a company that have 50 employees or more, that falls under affirmative action. They have to hire a percentage of individuals who have disability. So affirmative action, there's some misconception about it. It's beyond race. It's about gender. It's about disability. It's about employment, more employment equality for all types of individuals out there. But for contracting purposes, it's called the DOB program, DOBE program. And so let's see if there's any other questions. Any other questions that I need to address before? And Vicky, do you have any other questions? Well, I'm looking to see if there's other questions in here.
I don't have any questions. I know that I'm looking at the chat and I think I saw one question, but
okay, what was that?
Cody Bess.
Okay. All right. So, are there logos to signal intent to certify? If you can't right now for whatever reason. For example, if your business is veteran owned but not yet able to certify due to some restriction. That is a gray area, Cody. I personally, most of the companies that I have worked with, even though they don't have the service disabled veteran owned certification yet, they put their pending, they put SDVOSB, SBA pending, and then they also use the logo and never had any issues, mainly because the logos are owned by really technically the citizens, and we as citizens own the logos. And so I've never seen a infringement issue with any of these designation. So again, I'm not an attorney, so I can't speak about it, but I can only speak from experience. I can't speak from legal, but from experience only. Okay, so says, I find that when you're new in the government space, we have to seek information from multiple resources in order to be successful. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Absolutely, Effie. I like that analogy there. It is a Easter egg hunt. I look at it this way. You have to learn to speak Governese, and you have to understand the culture. The government market has a different language and have a different culture than the commercial market. When you're coming into this industry, you have to learn a whole new set way of doing different things. So yes, you have to go and find new eggs, new treasure, new nuggets, and say, wow, I learned something new today. Like some of you have never heard of the DOBE program. Well, you learned something new today, right? That's to your advantage to keep on hunting for more Easter eggs. Because inside the Easter egg, there's some good stuff inside. And some of you have very good experiences. If you've never been on Easter egg hunt, even as an adult, hey, I would say next Easter, whether you believe in the Easter bunny or not, go get some Easter egg. It's a lot of fun. I have good memories of it. So if you don't have more than 50 employees, big companies will not work with you. No, that is not true. Big companies will work with every company. If you have less than 50 companies, 50 company is only tied to affirmative action. Affirmative action, that's the threshold for affirmative action. For SBA, the employee threshold is different. So there's, so when I say 50 employees, that doesn't make you a large company. That just means that the affirmative action program, you must have an affirmative action plan. And in your affirmative action plan, you must have a game plan to hire people and work with vendors who are diverse and so forth. Okay, I think that we covered quite a bit. Thanks for joining us. If you are new in the government market, thanks for watching this episode and joining us live. If you are a return viewer or if you're watching this on replay, again, thank you. Please hit the notification bell and let us know that you're enjoying our podcast. It also helps with our algorithm so that we can get more views, so that we can get more juice for what we're doing here. And that's how you can encourage us back, right? Vicky is taking time. I'm taking time. We're all here to help each other. And you as a viewer, the way you help me back is hit the notification bell, click on the like and share the video. And that's how you can encourage me back for sharing with you and dropping you some good knowledge. With that, we are signing off. And remember, you are one contract away from your goals. One contract away from the car you want, one contract away from the house you want, one contract away from the wedding that you want, right? Some of you, my nephew just got married or just got engaged. So he's one contract away from the Bora Bora honeymoon that he wants. And so if you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have things that you want to accomplish in life, one contract can change all of that there. We're live back here next week, even though it's Juneteenth. Our company is, we're shutting down a lot of different things, but this podcast is not going away. So even on Juneteenth, we will be back here to share more information about government contracting. And we will see all of you next week on Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.